Reflections, Annual Day Souvenir 2020-2021 from the Mind Awareness and Management in Bhagavad Gita UK Group. Introduction. It is not unreasonable to say that history would divide the 21st century as pre- and post-COVID-19 pandemic era. Life has changed so much in the last 18 months that no one knows how exactly the new normal world will look like. The times are uncertain and ambiguous. Of course, all difficulties present new opportunities, and this has created a space and platform for people around the world from different time zones to meet, talk, and discuss various aspects in the comfort of their home. Mind Awareness and Management in Bhagavad Gita online sessions in the UK is one such endeavour. Dr. Kannan Parameswaran, or Kannan Sir as we affectionately call him, has been the soul and guiding light of MAM in BG sessions. These sessions started in May 2020 in the UK with classes and discussions on Sunday mornings. It has been an absolutely fascinating and spiritually enriching journey into this ancient treasure of wisdom. These discussions have helped us to understand the slogas better and how it can be used in a practical way for the 21st century problems and dilemmas we face in our everyday life. Some might think, how could a book of 700 slogas contained within 18 chapters, believed to be written more than 2,000 years ago, solve the problems of the present time? Interestingly, as Sri Aurobindo said, the Bhagavad Gita is a true scripture of the human race, a living creation rather than a book, with a new message for every age and a new meaning for every civilization. Scriptures like Bhagavad Gita are preparing the minds of the learners to face the practical issues in day-to-day life, and it is important that we understand them in its genuine sense and meaning. These give us the right method for developing mind awareness and self-management. Real spiritual life means a lifestyle modification of our mind in a proper manner with self-observation, awareness, and management. In this sense, the approach of MAM is congruent with present time to inspire individuals to do Karmayōga and be successful in true life situations without running away from the real world in the name of spirituality. We have now completed chapters 3, 6, 12, and 13 of Bhagavad Gita. In every session, Kannan Sir describes 2 to 3 slogas in detail. First, how to chant, then the literal meaning in Sanskrit, and subsequently the practical aspects of these messages. After this, all the attendees have an opportunity to ask questions, seek clarifications, share experiences, and meaning of the different aspects of Bhagavad Gita. Kannan Sir patiently listens to each question and answers them in a simple, measured, clear, and concise manner. Many a time when people ask questions, we think that those questions are relevant to each and every one of us, and the answers are really helpful and assist in clearing any doubts one may have about a particular aspect of sloga mentioned at the session. Sometimes these qualities we see in other people are a reflection of what we have in our own self, and vice versa. This means that we are all mirrors of each other, and each article here is a personal account from members of the MAM family. Hence we felt the name Reflections would be apt for this publication. We also did 5 webinars as Gita Samarpanam, along with Jnanapana Sadhana, writing meditations, and regular written self-assessments. All of us are affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in one way or another, directly and indirectly. Some of us have been affected by or know of someone who is or was affected. Some have lost their near and dear, and one member of the MAM family sadly passed away in June of this year due to post-COVID related complications. We dedicate this first annual day souvenir to all. We wish to extend our thanks to all members of the editorial team, Deepa and Kannan Sir, along with the blessings and prayers of all attendees of these sessions, without whom none of this would have been possible. Our gratitude to Satyan for providing access to the Zoom platform, Vandana for weekly sloga recordings, and Sindhu for weekly audio summary of the sessions. Hope you enjoy reading this as much as we enjoyed editing and bringing out this publication. We conclude by quoting the famous American philosopher Henry David Thoreau. In the morning I bathe my intellect in the stupendous and cosmogonal philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, in comparison with which our modern world and its literature seem puny and trivial. When doubts haunt me, when disappointments stare me in the face and I see not one ray of hope on the horizon, I turn to Bhagavad Gita and find a verse to comfort me, and I immediately begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming sorrow. Those who meditate on the Gita will derive fresh joy and new meaning from it every day. Mahatma Gandhi. Mind Awareness and Management. Be the Observer. By Dr. Kannan Parameswaran. Man can observe his own activities. He knows when he is hungry. He knows when he is sleepy. That self-awareness is a very basic nature of humankind. Man knows when he is angry. Maybe he was not aware of it at that very first moment of anger. Even before realizing what he is doing, he might already have expressed his anger in his own violent way. After a moment, he realizes that he is angry and he may control his expression. Here there is a question. Why was he not aware of his reaction in the very first moment? Therefore, it is evident that man's self-observation is imperfect. Here then comes the importance of developing the art of self-observation and management. The great tradition of yoga is nothing but the method to develop and perfect the skill of self-observation and self-management. It is necessary to understand the importance of this skill. The ability of self-observation has much more of an impact on us than many of us can begin to imagine. This fundamental moving force of human life, traditionally called jnanam, is not just the information collected from various sources, but is the awareness of one's own body, mind, action, thoughts, emotions, atma, etc. Thus, jnanam is the totality of one's vision about oneself and the world around. Based on the great Indian system of yoga, we have developed an easy system called Mind Awareness and Management, MAM, for increasing one's own skill to function effectively in day-to-day life. It is obviously difficult to explain about MAM in a short note, but it is easy to understand that developing the capability of self-observation and self-management is the fundamental process of it. Observe and manage the various functions of the body. Observe and manage your thoughts and feelings. Observe and manage the planning, functioning, and effectiveness of your activities. In short, observe and manage everything in and around you properly. This is called MAM. It is necessary to realize the power of self-observation. Perfect jnanam, or awareness, is in you. The ability to observe yourself is an inborn skill. Depending upon that very primary skill, man's growth is limitless. All knowledge systems, science, technology, art, literature, etc., are created using this great fundamental skill of humankind. Just like enjoying a fragrant breeze, discover the skill of self-observation in you and translate it into effectiveness in all your activities for a better world around you. Try it from now on. A New Beginning in 2020, Continuing the Journey of Self-Discovery by Deepa Pillai. Kannan Sir's virtual mind awareness and management in Bhagavad Gita classes started with the group in the UK, and many people have asked how this happened. It was one morning in 2019. I had just finished my morning prayers when a WhatsApp message landed on my mobile phone. It was from Dr. Ettumanoor P. Kannan. The message was a poster informing about 2 separate classes based on the Bhagavad Gita that Kannan Sir was going to conduct for adults and children in Thiruvananthapuram. Kannan Sir was the recipient of Kala, Kerala Arts and Literary Association UK, Puraskaram in 2015, and I was the Arts Secretary of Kala at that time. On the day after this event, Sukumaran Chetan and Sethu Chechi had brought Kannan Sir to my home. Whilst having lunch, Kannan Sir mentioned about the spiritual education classes that he was conducting for the youth in Kerala. I could see how his face brightened up when he spoke about this and about how he liked conducting these classes. We also discussed about meditation, how it must come to you naturally and cannot be done forcefully. Sir returned to Kerala, and as we had not kept in touch, it was a pleasant surprise when I received a message from Kannan Sir almost 4 years afterwards. I phoned Sir and said how delighted I was to connect with him. I told him that I have been learning to chant Vedam, but he emphasized the importance of learning the Shastras like Bhagavad Gita. In my heart, I wished that I could attend those classes that Sir was conducting in Thiruvananthapuram. I really wanted someone to explain the meaning of Bhagavad Gita verses to me. During my school days, I had studied chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita. This was when I used to go to Ramakrishna Mission Ashram in Vaitala, Ernakulam district, Kerala. They conducted regular lessons for children during weekends, and I used to glance through the Bhagavad Gita whenever I needed some solace, but I did not understand the verses. Very reluctantly, I asked Kannan Sir if he could explain the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita verses to me, and he readily agreed. Whenever he was free during weekends for an hour, he would explain the meaning of 2 or 3 slokas of chapter 3 to me. 5 or 6 sessions continued like this, and I would eagerly look forward to them. Then the COVID-19 lockdown started, and with that, Kala's virtual meetings started too. This triggered the idea in me to ask Kannan Sir if the 1 hour in which he was explaining the meanings to me could be used to explain to a few more people. Sir had no issues and said it would be done in a more structured way. People who could take the session seriously like a class and join regularly could attend. The first class took place on Sunday, 3rd of May 2020 with 13 participants. This is how it all started, and from that day, without missing a single week, the classes have continued. We have now completed 55 sessions, and almost 100 students now attend these sessions regularly in the UK. On 24th of May 2020, Kannan Sir started a new virtual class in Kerala, which currently takes place every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Then, on 19th July 2020, Kannan Sir started a new session on Sundays at 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time for participants based in the USA. Sessions held in the UK are at 2 p.m. Indian Standard Time, so in total on Sundays, Sir conducts 3 sessions. On Saturday mornings, Kannan Sir sends the slokas that he's going to cover along with the meaning as a PDF file and an audio file of how to chant the slokas. Organisers share this to the participants. The audio and PDF files are stored in Google Drive for reference. In the same Google Drive, participants can also find the chanting of slokas from Vandana Menon and reflections of Sir's lessons by Sindhu Nambiat. Organising these sessions gives me a lot of happiness. Working with Sir is enjoyable. He is very humble and easy to deal with. The classes are on mind awareness and management in Bhagavad Gita. Kannan Sir focuses on the practical aspects of how to manage your mind and to do your day-to-day duties to the best of your ability. The first thing Sir asked of us was to focus 100% on what we are doing at any point in time. He emphasized that we cannot do multitasking. This was the first take-home message. I am still finding this hard because I listen to inspirational talks and songs while doing some activities like mowing the lawn or cutting vegetables, cooking, etc. Slowly and surely I will get better at it. The most important message of all is to be happy irrespective of the incidents that happen in your life. Mind is to be always happy and peaceful. These sessions have made my dream of learning Bhagavad Gita come true. I thank Almighty God for making Sir an instrument to teach us this great Shastra. My sincere gratitude to Kannan Sir for the great work that he is doing. Questions we ask about ourselves by Jos Chittilappilly. Over our lifetime, we ask many questions about ourselves. Out of all those questions, some come over and over again. Questions such as, who are we? Surely there is more to us than the flesh and bone, like the mind. What is the mind? Why does it work in a certain way, whether we like it or not? A year has passed now, and more than 100 of us connected and started our journey to find out more about ourselves, to find out more on how our minds work and to understand its guiding principles, to be aware of our mind. The Mind Awareness and Management in Bhagavad Gita program addresses this topic in a unique way. Every session of this program ended with a thrilling experience when Kannan Mash, as we dearly call him, introduced various aspects of mind awareness to us in a very structured and elaborate way. In general, any discussion or sharing of our understanding about an abstract concept like the mind is difficult. Since there are no direct sensory references, people can easily get different or wrong understandings, especially when we use spoken languages for day-to-day conversation. Kannan Mash used the Gita and the framework provided within to communicate this complex subject. Bhagavad Gita is written in Sanskrit, a highly precise and logical language. A very good understanding of syntax and semantics of Sanskrit is needed to understand the sophisticated framework that the Gita puts forward to unlock the mystery of the mind. It provides many personal practices and disciplines to attune our own mind. MAM in BG not only defines the framework to understand the mind, but delves deeper into the numerous ways to make our lives more meaningful. There are lots of practical tools to confidently navigate through the choppy waters that our mind encounters at times. We even touched upon topics like enlightenment and various potential paths to reach it, like climbing the stairs to heaven. What Kannan has taken on is an insurmountable challenge. More than being a scholar of Sanskrit, more than having expansive knowledge of the esoteric aspects of the Gita, it takes a mix of personal attributes to guide the class. Kannan in a way, was demonstrating mind awareness, especially while responding to the questions on contemporary topics from the participants. We are all still continuing this journey with Kannan with increased enthusiasm, which itself is a testament to the effectiveness of the engagement, even with an online medium like Zoom. The journey is more important than the destination, as the saying goes. Rather than searching for the concluding answer to some of the questions that we ask ourselves, the experience we go through as part of that search is more valuable. These experiences make us a better person, especially at challenging times, which is often inevitable as we go through the journey of life. Love and Hope in the Time of Corona by Dr. Pradeep Vasudevan. I was very fortunate to be offered an invitation to join the Mind Awareness and Management in Bhagavad Gita online class by Deepa on a sunny morning in May 2020. This was the peak of COVID-19 first wave. It was a moment, as Paulo Coelho says, when you want something, the entire universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. It was destiny. Deepa said the classes had started a week ago and that I would be more than welcome to join if I wished to do so. I did join in, and for the last 54 Sundays I have been taking part, experiencing true happiness, satisfaction and bliss. Every week in the past 1 year, I have looked forward to Sundays. Kannan Sir has been an absolutely great scholar, teacher and friend who has selflessly conducted these classes. I am ever so thankful to Sir and all my MAM in BG friends in taking me through this spiritual journey into the realities of understanding the meaning and purpose of life, ethics, morals and values of this ancient wisdom of knowledge. I was always interested in spirituality and philosophy from a very young age. This may have been the influence of the school that I attended, Arya Kumara Ashram, now known as Arya Central School, Pattam, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. Equally, influence also came from the stories told by my elders about Ramayana and Mahabharata, and of course Amar Chitra Katha comics before I started reading books and scriptures. The best part of the MAM in BG class was its practical values in everyday life. It made me more and more of a Karmayōgi than before, also helped me in filling many gaps in the unknowns and uncertainties of this philosophic conundrum. We have so far covered chapters 3, 6, 12 and the majority of 13. One of the most important lessons I learned from my early classes was when Kannan Sir said, multitasking is a myth. I thought, rather foolishly, that I was a master of multitasking. I have now realized that it is very important to focus, ekagrata, on what I am doing at the present moment, without thinking about the past or future. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva. This has had a huge positive impact on my everyday life, both at home and work. Nowadays, I am able to give my individual and mindful attention when I am thinking, listening, speaking, or doing something. I feel this enhanced sense of satisfaction and happiness while I do the things in the present. Another aspect I learned from Sir is about writing meditation. I must confess that I did not do this regularly, but on the days that I did, it has been a feel-good factor for me. I remember the advice that Sir wrote to me, which was not to share my writing with anyone, as otherwise it could become formal and inauthentic. When I write for myself, I can really open up. The topics and issues that I write deeply connect to my inner self, and these contemplative moments can help me in identifying problems and solutions, managing different aspects of the problem better than before. One of the things I learned and reiterated my thoughts on was about Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12. True bhakti is not about prayers or worship, but true jnana, which is the understanding of the perishable Prakriti and non-perishable Atma or Purusha. In fact, all 3 chapters that we learned focus on the subject of karma, dhyana, and bhakti, which are complementary to each other. Karma is movement, jnana is self-awareness, and bhakti is the truth. If we do not have jnana, karma cannot be performed. Similarly, if we do not do karma, jnana cannot be practiced. Therefore, Karmayōga, which is the basis of everything, needs to be practiced in the form of yajna, selflessness and without any desire for its fruit, and jnana. Both action and contemplation lead to the understanding of one's true self. I also constantly think about the main principles I have learned from these classes and its messages all the time. It has become a habit. This is especially true when I am faced with a problem or dilemma at work. I can see the bigger picture, and this has given me more clarity in my vision. I tend to make my decisions based more on the present issues rather than on what results could, would, or might happen. This has resulted in many successful outcomes for us in our service at the hospital. Another highlight has been the chanting classes, which take place every week. It has helped me to understand and grasp the subjects in different slogas, and I can now remember and quote many of the slogas by heart. It has also reiterated to me that constant and regular practice of the slogas is pertinent in life. The classes have given me a new direction and purpose. I wish to continue attending these classes and complete many more chapters in Gita with Kannan Sir's guidance. I would like to summarize this reflection by saying the following stanza, and I am ever so grateful to Kannan Sir, Deepa, Mam and BG family and friends in this most insightful of journeys at these uncertain times of humankind. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Discovering My Own User Manual by Anitha Nair. One of the key realizations in the past year of the mind awareness and management in Bhagavad Gita sessions is that the first step in managing my mind was to be consciously aware of the mind and where it is at any given point during my day-to-day activities. To allow my mind to rest solely on the task that I'm engaged in, be it at home, work, or elsewhere, was a challenge, as this went against the long-established programming that the ability to multitask is a much-desired skill, especially in the workplace where this can be a commonly asked question to a candidate during recruitment. The sessions have enlightened me to the fact that it is not the ability to multitask that is required, but the ability to switch efficiently from one task to another and being fully immersed in the task that is in front of oneself. From the start, our teacher Dr. Kannan had encouraged us to recite the chapter of the Gita being studied and memorize the slogas. I did not think that I was capable of memorizing the slogas, but where there's a will, there's a way was a long-forgotten sentiment that I happily rediscovered. I also realized that I am only inhibited by my own, often unconsciously self-applied limitations. I value the journey that Dr. Kannan has taken us on through the chapters of Karmayōga, Dhyana Yogam, and Bhakti Yogam. Such a perfectly constructed and logical journey where at almost every session a reminder is given that Karmayōga is the foundation on which we must build strongly in order to evolve and manage our life's journey beautifully. Once the Karmayōga portion was completed, the explanation of the following 2 chapters were easier to digest, and then we began chapter 13, Kshetra Kshetratnya Vibhaga Yogam. For me, the first couple of sessions, at least in this chapter, were very difficult. I felt like I was drowning under the weight of the meaning of the slogas and concept. Thoughts arose as to whether I should continue with the sessions or just stop and be satisfied with continuing to apply the teachings of the completed chapters. However, I have continued to attend and happily treading water to stay afloat. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Kannan for guiding us so capably and exquisitely through the chapters. Thanks also to Deepa and all members of the MAM and BG group for their contributions. The Performer and I by Dr. Souvenir Nair. In fact, she has been with me on and off for over 25 years. Her dance practices on my back and my right leg have ranged from a gentle Mohiniyattam to intricate Kathak and Bharatanatyam. Most often she goes overboard with her movements and tries to pull my leg back towards my hip point. The spasmodic pain then would be excruciating. Wasn't it very generous of her not to pull my leg towards my shoulder or head? It was an embarrassment when she first appeared on the aranga, or stage, while I was working as a gynecologist. She would pull my leg when I was operating or walking the long hospital corridors. Then I had to remain stationary for a few seconds until she released me from her grasp. The difficulty while performing my duties was to pretend that she was not performing on me. I did not want anyone at work to sympathize with me, since I knew that it was not just a passing situation, to go off sick and return to normal. That is mind awareness and management, isn't it? I managed those situations well. Fortunately, for months she would remain dormant. My body and mind would almost forget about her. Occasionally she comes back to say, "Hey, I haven't abandoned you. I will always be there as your sleeping companion." For the past week she has been performing a tandavam on me, this time on my left side. It has been quite bad. Although I knew what was going on, it got so bad that I had to see my general practitioner. She said, "It's sciatica, related to natural wear and tear." She prescribed stronger painkillers. Sri Ramakrishna Parahamsa and Ramana Maharshi could separate themselves from their bodily pain. I am nowhere near those great Sankhyanmar, yet I try. What am I? I am not this Sharira. I am the Jivatma dwelling inside. It is that body of mine which is constantly being destroyed. The repair work, Prabhavishnu, unable to keep up with the destruction work, Grasishnu. The self keeps telling the body, "I am not you. What's going on with you shouldn't bother me." I am aware of the pain and try to manage the situation in this way. I carry on with my Nitya Karma and certain things I love, like writing and painting. Sometimes my mind listens and takes its attention off the pain, letting me carry on with my work, but only briefly. Then the mind brings me back to the performer on my body. I tell myself, this too will pass. It has been over a year since I have been attending online classes on mind awareness and management in Bhagavad Gita on Zoom every Sunday, conducted by Dr. Kannan Parameswaran. It is amazing to understand the treasures of analytical vision and wisdom of our Rishi Varyanmar. The Rainbows in Mind by Dr. Sethu Warrior. Our ancient scriptures say that we were never born and never do we perish. However, when this imperishable, indivisible cosmic energy, that eternal singular truth that has transcended even time, breathed life into inert matter as a part of the ongoing cosmic Leela, beings, both sentient and insentient, took birth with their characteristics. We evolved as the human race that had the added gift, or curse, of the capacity to think, intelligence, and communication techniques that facilitated transgenerational transmission of information. We are born with no guile, no animosity, no hatred, and no divisions. We represented that eternal light of true knowledge and wisdom that would shine through our innocence. It yearned for humane connections with each other and to live in loving harmony as the mountains, trees, and the oceans do in nature. Man also bore a genetic makeup that was transmitted through generations, Punarjanmam, for survival of the species. We learned to protect our own space and pursued materialistic interest to reach out for our happiness, Purushartham. We learned to deceive others and ourselves, wear masks and utter scripts to please. Then, in our brief existence on this borrowed planet, we deluded ourselves to obtain brief periods of contentment from these adverse experiences, which were short-lived. Yet time and again we went back insanely to experience that elusive magic. We are quick to learn how to drift away or run from aversive or life-threatening experiences, which if we had not, might otherwise end up with extinction of the species. What we are today, our physical, mental, intellectual, or emotional personality, is based on our inherited genetic makeup, nurturing, nourishing environment, past life, adverse and shameful, experiences, educationally acquired skills, work experience, and talents that may be unique to the person. The celestial dance of Prakriti is behind all this, but the knower, Paramatma, the silent witness, remains undeterred in its all-pervading, subtler than subtle form. After arriving in the United Kingdom, we quickly learned to adopt acceptable scripts, varied garbs and face masks, and learnt to be the strange person others wanted you to become in thoughts, words, and actions. You would not recognize your face in the mirror from your contented, happy childhood face. After settling down, each one of us were delivered our own share of life experiences that came knocking on our doors, throwing us overboard, often when it was least expected. Life often feels a drudgery, a torture to endure, or so painful to live anymore, and deep, dark despair engulfs us. Paralyzed, we remain trapped in that void which we had created within ourselves, feeling different or isolating ourselves from them too. Personally, I was in such a state of empty turbulence within and had an overwhelming sense of descending darkness around my world when I started attending mind awareness and management in Bhagavad Gita sessions. It felt like a bright ray of light that was so vigorously conveyed in simple language it could be understood by every person attending, even though they had no previous knowledge in Sanskrit. During the unique Q&A segment of the sessions, Kannan Marsh's temperament appears to be comparable to the all-forgiving Mother Earth. The depth of this intricate knowledge is demonstrated in every verse dissected out to us by Kannan Marsh and illustrates the passion for learning about the mind. Kannan Marsh also elaborates on the teaching with examples from wider life experiences. For those who are fortunate to have met Kannan Marsh and listened to his thoughts and wisdom, there is always a positive, lasting impression. I call it the rainbow effect, when a spiritual phenomenon like that emerges in all its splendor when Kannan Marsh delivers sunlight like the eternal singular truth through lessons from the Gita. That also cuts through the darkness in my life into the dungeon where I had kept myself imprisoned for years. Some Musings on the Bhagavad Gita by Dr. Chitra Krishnakumar. When our body is affected by a virus or bacteria or any disease, there is a clarion call to the immune system of our body to start active defense. The immune system gathers all resources at its command and swings into action, and with all its might overpowers and destroys the invader. Thus it protects and keeps safe our well-being, attack after attack. We are not even aware that this process is continuously happening and protecting us from harm. In the Bhagavad Gita MAM classes, Dr. Kannan Sir always talks about Prakriti and Purusha, Purusha being God and Prakriti being nature, and how they work hand in hand. My reckoning, Prakriti is always abused or hurt in various ways, literally by callous and brutal environmental degradation, and symbolically by misusing of our senses or by people around us who hurt us. Bhagavad Gita is essentially telling us how to face this hurt, the challenges, the turmoil within ourselves, by ourselves, at every turn in our life. Continuing on the earlier metaphor, the immune system is like the army of the Pandavas in Kurukshetra war in Bhagavad Gita. The invading pathogens and everything else that tries to destabilize the body are like the enemy Kauravas. Thus, the immune system is doing its duty, swadharma, of defending our body against extraneous onslaught, adharma. In a larger context, it tells us how we should be keenly aware of and destroy thoughts and actions that do us no good or that are out to affect us negatively. We must be aware of what does not suit our body, what does not suit our thinking, how to react to situations, how not to react to situations, and so forth. So I feel our body, the Prakriti, is constantly waging a battle of right and wrong, dharma-adharma battle. And the Purusha, which is us or me, should be strong and determined when taking decisions. The most difficult part is to be on the right side of myself. I am my own friend and my own enemy. My actions need to be in sync with me, the friend, and not with me, the enemy. So we must refrain from hurting ourselves with drugs or bad thoughts or whatever that we feel is going to hurt us physically or mentally. We should do what makes us happy and at peace with ourselves, and also does not hurt others and keeps them happy too. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Connect to Disconnect by Anitha Pillai. My introduction to this beautiful spiritual text Bhagavad Gita began 6 years ago. I was going through a difficult period in my life, and my husband introduced me to the Chinmaya Mission's online Gita course. I was feeling much better just with a few weeks of reading. However, as there was no physical presence of a teacher, it was hard to be systematic. Kannan Sir's class bridged that chasm. The class provided not only the structure, but also a calm and happy environment. Kannan Sir, with his innate teaching skills, deep knowledge in the subject matter, and beautiful language skills, facilitated a nourishing learning environment. My fellow students were also very much instrumental in my learning. The questions and discussions expanded everyone's learning and promoted enthusiasm to know more. Learning Bhagavad Gita in a systematic way has been a dream of mine for quite some time. In the last several years, and mainly in the last year, it has taken a new meaning. Working in a nursing home during the pandemic scared me several times, and frequent thoughts of quitting the job had surfaced. Looking around, I have seen many of my colleagues working tirelessly through the pandemic. My biggest carry-out from Gita in my words: don't quit, just do the best with the resources I have without likes and dislikes, and let go of the self to embrace the real self. I realize now that all the moments in our physical existence are part of our reflected consciousness. Through study and reflection, I now have the opportunity to get closer to my pure consciousness. I understand that I tend to live my life looking through a mirror formed by my experiences and thoughts and not seeing my real self. Life needs a purpose, and I realize that I have the infinite power in myself to go beyond the mundane and explore that which is beyond the reach of finite intellect and consciousness. Having a full-time job while raising 3 kids, including a toddler, seems like a formidable task. With Gita, slogas, and other beautiful mantras in my mind is less of a chatterbox. I feel less tired. I realize that our mind has command on our physical body. A tired body is a reflection of a hazy mind. Being mindful about each action translates to efficiency, as there is no need for proofreading. There is no past experience clouding the present, and I take decisions with more clarity. When we live in the present, there are no enemies or competitors, but only people with whom we can connect unconditionally. This is connecting through disconnecting, compassion without competition, and acceptance without boundaries. Maya is a powerful concept, and I understand now that Maya is nothing but part of our own self. Our true self is pure consciousness, and Maya is nothing to be scorned, but to be embraced. Realizing Maya helps in understanding the transience of time and moments of happiness and unhappiness, which are products of time. Although I feel blissful at one moment, euphoric at another, and deep sadness at the next moment, I understand that none of this is real. I do not need to act upon any of these truly blink-and-gone moments and make myself and people around me miserable. Our life is indeed a collection of memories, and even those memories we cannot vouch for as true to reality. Life can be a journey with many bumpy roads, and the destination can be disappointing, but it is the journey itself that presents with surprises, peace, and tranquility of mind. Growing with Bhagavad Gita by Shalini Govindan. The opportunity to study Bhagavad Gita has come as a great blessing in my life, especially to be taught by Kannan Maharaj with the purpose of enabling each student to apply the teachings of the Gita, improve understanding of our own selves, and apply this knowledge to our everyday lives. There are a few small changes I have noticed in myself during the course of the study. I find that I am becoming a better listener. I am now able to some extent not to jump to conclusions in my mind while having a conversation. I am able to listen with a bit more of an open mind, or rather, I am able to recognize certain unconscious biases which existed within me, of which I had been unaware. This is more so with work colleagues and family members, where patterns of behavior keep repeating. Sometimes, just out of habit, the same conversation is happening in different ways because nobody is actually listening. So now I try to understand, or rather know, what the other person is actually trying to say. I am also able to express my thoughts better. Earlier, I used to hesitate or sometimes just not say the things which were unpleasant for the other person. However, now I am able to express these ideas or thoughts in a better manner, with less untoward consequences. On a similar note, I feel I am developing my ability to empathize with others. At least on a few occasions, I am able to detach myself from my own thought process and try to see the world from another point of view. This can be a very revealing experience. I recently read an article called The Puzzle of Altruism by Steve Taylor, in which he explains empathy in a beautiful way. To quote, "And I believe that empathy is the root of all pure altruism. Sometimes empathy is described as a cognitive ability to see the world through another person's eyes, but I think it's actually much more than that. In my view, the capacity for empathy shows that, in essence, all human beings, and in fact all living beings, are interconnected. At some deep level, we are expressions of the same consciousness." In the light of everything we have been learning in Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, this sentence almost comes alive. Another thing I noticed in myself is that when faced with a difficult situation, I am able to look at it from a different perspective. It helps create a little distance between myself and what is happening at the given moment in time. This helps me to keep calm and focus on the task in hand. I have also observed lately that I take more notice of my surroundings. This can sound silly, but I feel I get cues from my surroundings to correct my angry or misguided thoughts. Also cues to strengthen my constructive and creative thoughts which arise from a place of understanding and love. All of this I owe to our beloved Kannan Marsh and my dear friend Deepa, who got me and all of us in the group started on this beautiful journey of learning the Gita. Samarpanam by Anitha Nair. I was surprised when Deepa mentioned my name as one of the original members of the group attending the Mind Awareness and Management in Bhagavad Gita class, which started in the UK last year on 3rd May 2020. The world outside was gripped by the fear of the pandemic, and inside I was dealing with the new normal, searching for my own quests. I always wanted to be able to learn and recite slogas, but lacked confidence to recite these aloud, so left these rituals to my beloved husband. At home, I was never far from hearing the slogas being chanted daily and Ramayanam during the month of Karkidagam. I often listened to the enchanting short stories from Mahabharatam or Ramayanam narrated by my husband that were shared by our elders and earlier generations. Now I cast my indriyas far afield, longing to see and hear his melodic voice again, one more time so I could bow down and say thank you. MAM and BG classes are like an oasis and sanctuary in my desert mind. Initially, I found it hard to restrain my mind to concentrate in the class. After numerous breakdowns, be it in the class or during one-to-one sessions, I was able to follow the teachings. I concentrated on my mind and my actions, Chapter 3, Karmayōga. I started reciting slogas loudly in the mornings. Whenever I am overwhelmed by emotion, I chant the slogas even louder to give me solace. Regular sadhana helps me focus on my commitments to work and family. I sleep peacefully at night and often wake up with a sloga I had learned the previous week coming to my mind. MAM and BG classes light up the Jivatma in me and helps me to see the touch of Brahman in other beings around me. I am eternally grateful to Dr. Kannan Sir and Deepa for giving me the opportunity to experience this divine journey. My pranam to Kannan Sir for his methodology of teaching, his wisdom and his readiness to part with his knowledge in the most simplistic way for the benefit of others. Reflections on a Year into Mind Awareness and Management by Indira Rajendran. My husband Rajan and I joined the Mind Awareness and Management in Bhagavad Gita sessions a few weeks after it started. It was the ideal time to involve ourselves in something like this as our world had turned topsy-turvy with the onset of the pandemic. Many of the things we always took totally for granted could no longer be done. Gone were the holidays to India or far-flung corners of the world or visits to family and friends or museums, etc. Being unable to spend time with our children and grandchildren was the worst bit, but we took comfort in knowing that as long as they were all well, that was fine. It was at such a time that we started attending the MAM and BG sessions. I had been intending to improve my knowledge of our scriptures, especially the Bhagavad Gita, since retirement, but had not really applied myself to this, and the years passed by. So when Deepa suggested these classes, it felt like it had fallen into our laps. Although we already knew some of the people who attended, it was nice to learn, to get to know the others in the group and have a kind of a bond with them. Some members of the group had some traumatic experiences of COVID-19 and of personal tragedies. It was an ideal forum to get support and share our thoughts and feelings. Kannan Sir made sure it was a safe space for us to talk through these experiences. When we first heard that Kannan Sir was going to guide us through this journey, I was somewhat curious. As avid Kathakali fans, we had thoroughly enjoyed his performances on our visits to Kerala and had seen for ourselves his talents and the high regard he held in the field of arts. However, we were astounded by the depth of his knowledge of not only the Gita, but also the various scriptures like the Upanishads, etc. During the course, he gave us a taste of many gems. It increased our yearning to also try and learn a bit more ourselves and made me more aware of the richness of our spiritual heritage. As an offshoot from this, we started the chanting classes and later joined the Sanskrit class. These are things which I have always wanted to do but never got around to doing. Rajan grew up in an atmosphere of Malayalam literature, arts and Akshara Slokam, etc. His knowledge, therefore, was more than mine, so attending these sessions has really opened my mind up to the richness of our scriptures. We showed commitment to attend the classes each week, and our children and the rest of the family know not to disturb us on Sunday mornings. This is something we really look forward to each week. Our tastes and interests are quite different, so the Mamin BG sessions and the subsequent offshoot classes gave us an opportunity to do things together and talk about it. Reflecting on how the Mamin BG sessions have influenced me, there is no doubt in my mind that it has made me a much calmer person, one who has learnt to accept certain situations for what they are and to be accepting of them. I have learnt to appreciate the small little things in life, whether it is a sunny day, more so certainly in the last few days, a seed that has sprouted, a plant that has suddenly got buds, a book, and above all to be thankful for the abundance around me even in these hard times. When I look out of my kitchen window, I am fortunate to look upon the wonders of nature, and as spring unfolds after the dreary winter, I cannot help but think of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. The course has no doubt helped me to be a better person and more aware of people who are less fortunate, and I try and do something of benefit to them. Sometimes it will be something small, but really appreciated by the person. I have found that time is the most valuable thing you can give someone who is going through a difficult time. I have also learnt to be more tolerant of some people who in different ways try to be irritating. I would like to thank Kannan Sir for all the knowledge and guidance, and of course to Deepa, who is always so supportive to ensure the smooth running of the sessions. I consider the Mamin BG sessions as a great gift to help me to live a life of inner grace and make it more rewarding and enriched. My Thoughtful Experience and Experiments by Shilpa Shibu. My sincere thanks to my teacher and everyone in our Sangam. I am really grateful for my journey over the past 1 year with mind awareness and management in Bhagavad Gita, and to be part of this wonderful platform where I can express all my thoughts and doubts. Without this platform, I do not think that my spiritual growth would have been as smooth as this. My personal belief is that for anyone thinking about their spiritual growth, the importance of a teacher and Sangam in the journey is essential. From my experience, each time that I have gained new spiritual knowledge, my mind is sometimes filled with doubts. With the help of my teacher and Sangam, I have managed to clear all the dark clouds from my mind. This form of learning helps me to keep my path clearer and more visible. Talking to like-minded people within the Sangam about the spiritual topics made me really happy and helped clear my mind in a much better way than referring to books or from any other similar methodology. I have no words to express my gratitude to each and every one in Mamin BG. The recognizable change that happened in the past year is in how I approach my karmam. My duties are now in the form of seva. The realization of the presence of Brahman in living and non-living things in the world are the cause for change in my attitude towards my duties. I can see my Creator's magic touch in every individual around me, and my duties toward them is a form of God's seva. This attitude has made a big impact on my daily activities and duties in the workplace. I am able to perform any challenging tasks with ease, and there is no pain that I experience from it. I am free from my prarabdha dukkham. What I thought about bhakti towards God has tremendously changed in the past year. My limited understanding about God was that God stays in a temple, or where we put oil lamps at home, or is somewhere far away from us. The realization of the presence of God inside me and His support towards me during struggles along this spiritual path is unbelievable. The experiences during this journey increased the curiosity inside me to seek more about God. For this reason, the Mamin BG classes have become an important time for me. I seek more information about God through my teacher, from books, through listening to others' experiences, and more importantly, I am seeking Him within me, which I think is the closest place from where I can reach Him. In this way, I can talk to Him, see and feel Him anytime without the need for any other external medium. Realizing God's presence in me boosts my confidence to face any challenges in life and to help others during their struggles. After our teacher requested us to express our experience of last year, I sat up one morning and thoughts came to my mind which I wrote down. I would like to share these here in the pure form in which these thoughts came to my mind. I am slowly learning to walk towards me. Now my sights are far more different than what I used to see. My hearing, my touch, my taste on the tip of my tongue are all changed, and I feel like I'm experiencing a touch of freshness in all my senses. Now I can see this world like what I am seeing when I walk in the Eden garden in my mind. Freshness, colors, and beautiful aromas spreading everywhere. I feel like I am reborn again. The learning in the past year has influenced me a lot and has made many changes. These experiences lift my thoughts and strengthen my writing skill with a pen. I started writing about various topics that I thought I would not be able to do in my life. I love to spend time with myself, and I have found my soulmate. That is me. What, How and Why of Karmayōga by Dr. Kannan Parameswaran. It is clear that the purpose of mind awareness and management, MAM, is to bring about happiness in the minds of its practitioners. Only a happy person can function well in life. The real happiness is nothing but the growth of jnanam and ekagrata. Everything else can be achieved through these qualities of mind. As per the teachings of MAM, jnanam and ekagrata can be cultivated only through the practice of constant Karmayōga. This is the challenge. Though there is awareness that Karmayōga is the foundation of MAM, practicing Karmayōga is not easy. As Sri Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptum upayata. Meaning, if you can restrain yourself, Vashyatmana, you will be able to achieve mastery over yourself when you try it in a proper method, yatata. This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Sloka 36. It is possible to develop the habit of Karmayōga with an intentional approach and an effective method. A method essentially needs a specific structure, repeatability, and the power to motivate. I will now share with you such a method through which Karmayōga can be practiced and continued with considerable success. All one needs to do is ask 3 basic questions to yourself when you are not motivated to do your karma. 1. What is Karmayōga? 2. How is Karmayōga? 3. Why is Karmayōga? Answers to these questions have the power to motivate you to involve in Karmayōga. 1. What is Karmayōga? First, we need to define and explain Karmayōga. Man cannot exist without work or doing actions. All actions are movements, and such movements are called karmas. Karmayōga does not mean merely performing your karmas. All human beings are doing their karmas, maybe partially or reluctantly. People generally manage their karmas because of various pressures such as fear of failure or the desire for rewards. However, such works or actions do not become Karmayōga. You are said to be doing Karmayōga only when you execute your karmas with added values in it. What are these values? There is an intention behind each action. If you have a special intention while doing the karma, it is Karmayōga. That special intention is nothing but your growth as a good human being. In short, the performance of karma for your own internal growth and to become a better human being is Karmayōga. Let me elaborate on this. There are 2 kinds of purposes in all actions. One is the immediate outcome of the action, while the second is the ultimate result. For instance, when you write an examination, you want to score good marks. This is the immediate result of the action, whereas the ultimate result is the personal growth as a human being in the process of preparation for the exam. You are learning new things truthfully with dedication and hard work. Through this process, you are building up a habit of self-progression with self-control and discipline. In short, an examination is a process that improves your quality as a positively functioning human being. This growth as a human being is the ultimate result of the action. The immediate result of the action, karma phalam, is not under your control. Depending on various factors, you may score well or do badly in the exam. That is why MAM tells you not to worry about the immediate result of an action. You must be ready to accept success and failure gracefully, both of which can happen in any situation, because the processes leading to success or failure are beyond your control. In any case, you are able to work for your long-term growth as a good human being, depending on the manner in which you do karma, and is therefore to an extent under your control. If you do it sincerely and truthfully in yatnya bhavam, i.e. without having selfish intention, you can become a better person, irrespective of the immediate outcome. Therefore, involving in an action in order to cultivate good human qualities in you is called Karmayōga. The values added here can be interpreted as the positive human values which cause personal growth of the individual. 2. How to practice Karmayōga. There is only one way to enter into Karmayōga. Just do it. Stop thinking, worrying, and doubting about the results and plunge into the action. Waiting for the perfect action or a perfect moment will stop you from performing a good action. There are people who are confused as to what kind of karma they should practice, or what is good or what is bad for them. There are 2 ways to select your karmas. A. Whatever comes your way, accept it as your swadharma. This can be practiced in your family, in your society, and even in your workplace. This is the right method when you do not have a choice of action. You have to accept what comes your way and do that karma strictly adhering to your personal values. B. If you possess certain aptitudes or choices, you may choose that which matches your skill set and attitude. A certain level of knowledge and experience is required for the process of selection of karma. 3. Why should I practice Karmayōga? Why does one give more importance to his or her growth as a human being while performing Karmayōga? The answer is simple. It is for developing jnanam and ekagrata. You can be happy in life only through jnanam and ekagrata. They lead the individual towards moksha or mukti. Moksha refers to the ultimate freedom from all miseries in life. It is a state of mind. All of us have to confront disastrous incidents and unhealthy conditions as part of daily life. No one can stop them. But it is possible to develop the jnanam and ekagrata necessary to face such situations with equanimity. This ability to shield yourself from disheartening situations is called moksha or mukti. It is not indifference, it is a wise attitude towards life. In this context, jnana must not be confused with all the information which one can easily gather from various sources. On the other hand, jnanam refers to the experiential knowledge about the functioning of one's own body, mind, intellect, and the inner self. Ekagrata means an unwavering interest in an idea, an action, or an object. Ekagrata brings jnanam, and jnanam brings more ekagrata. They cause the attainment of moksha or mukti. These wonderful qualities of mind can be accomplished only through Karmayōga. Therefore, do dive deep into the actions that await your skillful touch to come alive. Conclusion. Every article here celebrates the beauty of the emerging rainbow of change in an individual on a personal level, whilst we learned, shared, and opened ourselves more to the possibilities and awareness of the mind that never sleeps. Everything for a productive and fruitful life ahead. As Sri Bhagavan says, Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyo hya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasidyeta karmanaha. Meaning, you perform your bounden duty because action is superior to inaction. Even day-to-day life in the body is not possible by not performing necessary activities. Back cover, Reflections Annual Day Souvenir 2020-2021. It is necessary to realize the power of self-observation. Perfect jnanam, awareness, is in you. The ability to observe yourself is an inborn skill. Depending upon that very primary skill, man can grow endlessly. All knowledge systems, science, technology, art, literature, etc. are created using this great fundamental skill of humankind. Let's explore together and grow.